implore the men in the world who have women that they say they care about, daughters that they are raising, that this is their issue too. I mean, for men to sit on their hands over this issue and trade out women's health for a tax break or whatever it is a sad statement about that man's level of value of the women in their life.
We're talking about how expensive it was to live in the White House. Go for it.
It's expensive to live in the White House.
Yeah.
As many people don't know. Sure. I mean, much is not covered. You're paying for every bit of food that you eat. You know, you're not paying for housing and the staff in it, but everything, even travel. If you're not traveling with the president, if your kids are coming on a Bright Star, which is the First Lady's plane, we had to pay for their travel to be on the plane.
Michelle Obama entered with her trademark presence, poised, admired, and seemingly untouchable. But on live television, Charlie Kirk and Patrick Bet-David didn't hold back. Armed with sharp commentary and hard-hitting facts, they cut through the carefully crafted image, revealing contradictions beneath the charm and rhetoric. This wasn't just a debate, it was a wake-up call. Bold, unfiltered, and impossible to dismiss, the exchange left even some of her supporters questioning what they thought they knew.
Oh yes, no, she's at her complaining quotient, but I guess she's talking about abortion there as if like, you know, women's health. But let me just be clear: not a single Trump voting male in the world is ever going to be won over by complaining Michelle Obama. Just to make she looks.
Why would you ever post this picture? Yes. No, the people were, and I'm actually not being funny. They were asking Barack, why would you ever post this picture? What part of Michelle's picture? Barack looks great. That is not a...
Can you close up on her, Rob?
Actually, don't. But can you zoom out a little bit? Not for bad reasons. It's just she doesn't look good in that picture. Yeah. Sometimes you don't look good. So guess what you do when sometimes you don't look good? You ask and you say, hey, babe, you okay if I post this picture? No, use this one.
Charlie Kirk opened with the precision of someone who'd been preparing for this moment since he first heard the word becoming. Calm and collected, he didn't need theatrics, just facts. With quiet confidence, he went straight for the ideological core, exposing contradictions without ever raising his voice. All he had to do was lay out the record and let it collapse under the weight of its own inflated self-importance.
Push through it, and one side note on Michelle Obama, can we just note how overrated she is? And like all the hype around Michelle Obama, she's gonna run for office, and she's just, I don't want to get into the aesthetics of all of it, but the presentation of her podcast is terrible.
I've never been in the Michelle Obama's running for president campaign.
Let me ask you a question.
I don't get it.
Let me ask you a question. How much of becoming a president on the Democratic side, hear me out, how much of being a president on the Democratic side do you think is you getting picked or you saying, I'm going to be a president? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, how much of it do you think is the first?
If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Kirk didn't mince words. He described Michelle Obama not so much as a former first lady, but as a full-time influencer with only a part-time relationship with accountability. Between Netflix deals and book tours, he argued, she seemed to forget that Americans remember the facts, not just the flattering camera angles and carefully filtered messages of empowerment.
So recently, I have mourned the dimming of that hope, and maybe you've experienced the same feelings, that deep pit in my stomach, a palpable sense of dread about the future.
It's so dark. And now she's saying, now I have hope because of Kamala Harris. The apocalyptic undertones of the Democrat Party is dramatic. This is their identity. This is their purpose.
If you're enjoying this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for updates. According to Kirk, Michelle Obama is less of a former first lady and more of a full-time influencer with only a part-time interest in accountability. Somewhere between the Netflix deals and the book tours, he claimed, she seemed to forget that Americans remember real events, not just the camera angles and polished, feel-good speeches.
If all of a sudden the Dems did flip in August and they put a Newsom, Michelle combination, do you know what mainstream media would do with that? CNN, what Jimmy Fallon, Colbert, all these podcasts, the Oprah Winfrey, the NBA, LeBron.
Forget it.
Do you know what Taylor Swift, do you know what these guys would be doing? It would be bonkers. By the way, if it is Michelle and Newsom, it's going to be a dog.
Charlie Kirk's signature move isn't about punching up or down, it's about striking directly where the nonsense lives. He doesn't waste time with theatrics or personal jabs. Instead, he zeroes in on the contradictions and lets them speak for themselves. Michelle Obama, he argued, has built an entire public image, almost a brand empire, on what he described as narrative gymnastics. It's a polished, inspirational facade that carefully avoids accountability while subtly shaping public discourse. Kirk wasted no time peeling that back. He began by pointing out the glaring irony. Michelle Obama has long claimed to be above the political fray, insisting she's not a political figure but a unifying voice. Yet somehow, her voice has echoed through nearly every major cultural flashpoint since 2009. Whether it's speeches that subtly frame ideological divides, media projects that toe partisan lines, or public statements delivered with just enough ambiguity to keep plausible deniability intact, her presence has been anything but neutral. Kirk laid the groundwork methodically, arguing that her apolitical posture is less a principle and more a strategy, one that allows her to shape the battlefield without appearing to step on it. And once that stage was set, the deeper critiques began.
Reasons, it's just she doesn't look good in that picture. Yeah. Sometimes you don't look good. So guess what you do when sometimes you don't look good? You ask and you say, hey babe, you okay if I post this picture? No, use this one, use that one, use this one. So I don't even know why he posted the picture. You know, he has his own reasons for posting a picture. So a lot of people said, why are you even doing this? It's not cool for you to post a picture like this. So
because, as Kirk bluntly asked, what kind of person rises to the highest echelons of power, reaps every benefit a free nation has to offer, and still finds it morally gratifying to shame the very system that made it all possible? He argued that Michelle Obama's version of America is more illusion than reality, a hologram of oppression and dysfunction that somehow never delays her private jet schedule or interrupts her luxury lifestyle. Then came Patrick Bet-David, and the tone shifted completely. Where Charlie Kirk was precise and surgical, Patrick was a wrecking ball. He's less of a political sniper and more of a cultural demolition crew, and he didn't hold back. He tore through the glossy packaging of Michelle's image like a seasoned contractor discovering a termite infestation in a Beverly Hills mansion. Patrick brought a different energy. He didn't lecture, he entertained. With a smirk and a shrug, he set the mood, almost like saying, you already know the truth, but let's just go ahead and say it out loud. His signature move? The well-timed pause. He'd set the trap with a laid-back tone, then drop a punchline so sharp it echoed through the rafters. He opened by asking the obvious, why does the media treat Michelle Obama as if she's untouchable? Then he proceeded to touch every sacred cow grazing in her rhetorical pasture. According to Patrick, Michelle doesn't speak like someone who wants to uplift America, she speaks like someone trying to guilt-trip it into surrender.
All the time, and she's complaining. Right, again, I'm not trying to look in people's looks. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying the whole aura of it, to use a Gen Z term, is terrible. It's negative. It's just kind of her lamenting. And then she's obviously, there's problems with her daughters and all that. I don't want to get into that. But we built up on the right. Michelle Obama is going to be the hardest person ever to run against. And her book sold so many copies. And because
Patrick didn't just criticize Michelle Obama, he openly mocked the idea that she represents the moral conscience of the nation. According to him, if your version of morality involves scolding millions of Americans while cashing checks from the very corporations you claim to oppose, then maybe you're not the beacon of virtue you believe yourself to be. He raised a pointed question: how does someone spend nearly a decade inside the White House, surrounded by immense power and privilege, and still manage to walk away claiming the mantle of victimhood? With theatrical flair, he mimicked her signature delivery, those dramatic pauses, furrowed brows, and the carefully choreographed concern. It wasn't so much a roast as it was a mirror held up to a carefully scripted image. No punchlines needed, the contradictions, he said, did all the work. Listening to Michelle speak about the struggle, Patrick remarked, was like watching a billionaire complain about ATM fees. It doesn't land, it doesn't resonate, and frankly, it doesn't make sense. And yet, the media applauds anyway, because, as Patrick put it, criticizing Michelle Obama has become like questioning gravity. Untouchable, immune to scrutiny, and wrapped in layers of cultural insulation.